What's going on, everybody? You got the Raging Rob here, sitting in another Walmart parking lot. I'm here in Pensacola, Florida right now. I am on my way to New Orleans. I'm going to be going to Mardi Gras this weekend. And then after New Orleans, I'm going to go to Daytona Beach, where Biker Week is taking place. Then after Biker Week, depending on the weather, I'm going to be heading back to Michigan, my home state. There's a lot of stuff happening up in Michigan, and it's going to be a wild summer with the protests and the rallies and all the stuff going on. Now we got this incident with the Michigan State University, the shooting. We got that to add to the chaos in Michigan. It's going to be a wild summer of protests, rallies, and all kinds of stuff going on. It's going to be probably as wild as 2020. How wild that year was up in Michigan. Now we got the presidential race coming up in 2024. That's the 2023 is heating up, the presidential race. Nikki Haley from South Carolina has threw in the towel. She is the former governor of South Carolina. She was the ambassador to the UK. Was it the UK? I think it was the UK. Ambassador to one of the countries. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, she has thrown in the towel for presidency against Trump in 2024. So 2023 is going to be a wild year. Anyway, I'm making this video because I want to discuss what the Michigan Senate is doing. If you're not familiar with what's going on in Michigan, there was a shooting Monday night at Michigan State University. 3 students were killed by a guy who should have never been on campus. He should have never had a gun. 5 students are currently still in the hospital. 1 has been upgraded to stable condition. I think it's Sparrow Hospital in Lansing. Michigan State University students went to the Capitol in Lansing, Capitol grounds. They had from my understanding, a sit-in, or they sat down outside the Capitol building on grounds, a rally or whatever they did, with their signs, and they're rallying for more gun control. The only gun control I support is background checks, but not universal. That's the only thing I can get behind is background checks. But we have 25,000 gun laws on the books in this country, and we still have this problem. We have to address the problem where the problem lies. That's my opinion on it. My opinion, well, let's see what happened at Michigan State University. A man who should have never gotten inside. Let me just say that Michigan State University is an open public campus. Okay, it's not a private campus. It's a public campus, meaning it's public property. Anybody can walk around there. A private campus means you're not allowed on the property unless you're a student, an employee, whatever. But public campus means it's public property. You can walk around, First off, my opinion is this guy was a 43-year-old man. He had a history of violence. He should have never been anywhere near students. He should have never been anywhere near the campus to begin with. And let's look at where the problem lies. Well, he's on camera walking right into a building, not locked, no security, not confronted by security. Hey, who are you? What are you doing? Nothing. He just walks right in. That right there needs a change. Let's focus on where the change needs to be. That right there, regardless if he had a gun or not. This creepy guy, who's not a student, not an employee, walks into the building at Michigan State University. That right there should have stopped. Security should have been there to stop him. They should have had steel-plated doors, bulletproof glass. You need an ID badge to scan to get in. Something like that. Make it hard for people that don't belong in those buildings to get in. That right there in itself would have prevented the 3 murders that happened on Monday night. You want change? There you go. Another thing you can do to make change, they should have had this security system across every public school and college after Sandy Hook. Steel plated doors, need ID badge to get in. scan to get in. Basically, the school goes into lockdown during hours of operation. When the school goes into hours of operation, the building's locked down. You can't get in. You can get out, but you can't get in. The doors are locked from the outside. You have to be buzzed in. You need an ID badge to get in. That security system should be across every single solitary public school, okay, and college across the country. That's a system that should be in place right after Sandy Hook. Here we are more than 10 years later after Sandy Hook, and that system is not in place for every school. And it should be. That right there will stop these sick assholes from going in. Armed security on the outsides, watching the premises. There you go. Why are these things not being considered? Why is this not being discussed? That's what I'd like to know. Hello? You want change? Hey, why is these things not being discussed? Okay? Democrats, the Senate Democrats in Michigan have introduced, from what I was told, 10 bills and I was told 11 bills. It was a bunch of packages concerning 3 things. These 3 things are red flag laws in Michigan, which is a violation which is a violation of the 4th Amendment, by the way. We're going to consider that person dangerous based on what he might have said on social media. I don't agree with what he said on social media, or yeah, he was saying things. Now, let's get one thing straight. Threats of violence are illegal. If I go on social media, any site, and threaten violence, that in itself is illegal. Okay? It's like 1 year in federal prison. Okay, let's get that straight. That in itself is illegal. That is a crime. Okay? What they're talking about, red flag laws, they're talking about somebody getting in a car next to me. I don't want them thinking I'm recording them. Hold on a second. Just give me a minute, wait for them to pull away. There's a lot of Karens out there that, oh my God, he's recording me from his car, and stuff like that. So I just want to wait till this lady pulls away. But anyway, come on, lady, pull away. She's got her headlights on. Messing with her makeup or something, I don't know. Hold on, come on, pull away. She's backing up, okay. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to wait for her to pull away before I put up my phone. But anyway, like I said, these red flag laws, it's always about, well, he might do something, based on what he said, rather than actual threats that he made, It's a violation of due process. It's a violation of the 4th Amendment. So that's one of the things that the Michigan Senate, okay, she's moving now. The Michigan Senate has proposed. They proposed 11 bills. Maybe somebody else said 10 bills based on these 3 categories. Red flag laws is one of them, okay, which is a direct violation of the 4th Amendment, okay? Basically what red flag laws are is it's basically like the thought police, Your brain is your own. Only God and you knows what's on your head. Only God and me knows what I'm thinking. So nobody knows what I'm thinking. It's not possible, okay? Except God and me. So basically, red flag laws are like thought police. Well, he might do this, so we have to take his guns immediately, violate the 4th Amendment, due process, and then you have to go to court and plead with the court why you're not a threat, okay? And it's up to the judge. We got one person who sits his fat ass on a throne called the judge who decides if I'm not a threat or a threat, okay? Then you get your guns back within a year. You have to wait a year. When that year is up, then you get your guns back. See, this is how red flag laws work. They say it prevents crime. It prevents... maybe so. Maybe it prevent a shooting, okay? But you see where this is going. The violations in the Constitution are enormous. That's one of the things the Michigan Senate is proposing. The next two things they're proposing: background checks. They want universal background checks. They want background checks on every single solitary gun transfer sale, regardless of, family member to family member, whatever. If, I'm 40 years old, I don't have any kids, but if I sell my gun to my nephew, who's 19, okay, my nephew's got to go through a background check. It would close the gun show loophole. Okay, sure. But here's the problem with background checks. Universal, I'm going to say universal. I'm going to call them what they are. Universal background checks. There's already background checks in Michigan. There's, how do I say this? If you have a Michigan CPL, you don't need a background check. Okay? The FFL dealer has the right to hold to perform a background check if he wishes. You fill out paperwork, which is a registration, by the way. Let me get one thing clear. Michigan does not have pistol registration. This is where a lot of people are confusing this. Michigan does not have pistol registration. They have a sales record, which goes to the county. When you go buy a pistol, you fill out paperwork. That paperwork goes to the county. That is a pistol sales record. Okay? That's what they call it. It's basically a registration, but it's not. When people mean registration, you have to register the gun with the state police or the county or whatever. If you file out paperwork, it's a registration. They got it on file. But it's a pistol sales record. It's not actual registration. In my book, it's registration, but that's not on paper what it's actually on the books what it is. So to clarify that. So universal background checks is another thing they're proposing. There's no possible way that this can be enforced. No possible way. Because you got criminals that don't follow the law. Yeah. It's impossible to enforce universal background checks. You might pass a law saying, okay, we're going to do background checks. Universal background checks. Okay? But guess what? Rifles and shotguns, you don't need a background check. You don't need to file out paperwork. So therefore, if let's say I give my shotgun to my nephew, he just hands me money and I give it to him. Guess what? There's no record of me giving it to him. I just violated the law. If they pass the universal background check, I violated that. And there's no record to prove that I actually did it. Because there's no record. Because there's no background check. Okay? Basically, what I'm trying to say is it's absolutely impossible to enforce universal background checks. It's a pointless law, is what I'm saying. And the last thing they want to pass is safe storage laws. This is another thing that was introduced. Safe storage laws. Now, this is a huge violation of the Fourth Amendment. This is a huge violation of private property rights. Not that Democrats care about the Constitution anyway. They don't give a shit. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care that it violates the Constitution. All three of these things that are being proposed, all 11 bills, or 10 bills, are a violation of the Constitution. They're a violation of the U.S. Constitution. They're a violation of the Michigan Constitution. Democrats don't care. Basically, safe storage laws says that you have to store your gun safely in your house, what they consider safely. If somebody breaks into my house, I have to run out of my bed, grab a key, go to my safe storage where I safely store my gun, okay, get it. That takes another 5-6 seconds. By the time the burglar could be anywhere in the house. including my bedroom. Oh, then I got to grab the magazine. I got to load up the magazine. I got to put the magazine in the gun. I got to cock the gun. All this takes time. While this burglar in my house is fortifying his position and probably raping my wife at this point, okay? While this is going on, yeah, that's what safe storage does. Okay? Basically, you have to keep the ammo separate from the gun locked up in a safe, a magazine set, all this bullshit. Okay? Now the lady across from me wants to get out of the parking lot. This is the problem with doing videos in a Walmart parking lot. I don't want people thinking I'm recording them. I got my phone up here by my steering wheel. Oh my God, this person across from me is recording me. So I don't want to, think that I'm recording them. But that's what safe storage is. It's a huge violation of the Fourth Amendment. It cannot be enforced. There's no possible way to enforce this without violating the Constitution. The police need a warrant to go in their house. And if they do get a warrant to go in your house and see that you are violating the safe storage law that these damn Democrats want to pass, I don't know what the penalty is. I didn't look into it. Basically, they're penalizing you for something you did behind closed doors. That's basically what safe storage is. Violation of private property rights. I think Los Angeles passed it. Violation of due process. Violation of the Fourth Amendment. I'm going to be honest. My guns in my house, I'm not going to say too much on YouTube, but I'd rather have my gun by my bedside, loaded. Okay? If somebody breaks in, I grab it. That's it. I ain't got time to run to the safe, grab the key, load it up, all that shit. Seconds mean everything. And seconds mean everything. And I'm going to be totally honest. Seconds mean everything. When I was 27 years old, I had a gun put to the back of my head. I was robbed at gunpoint. And let me tell you, when I called 911 after the armed robber left, it took so long for the police to come out. I think a total of 10, 11 minutes. And those 10, 11 minutes after that traumatizing experience you went through, it's like months. It feels like years. Those 10 minutes are so long. During the armed robbery, when I had a gun put to my back of my head, when I was 27 years old, I was a cab driver in Phoenix, Arizona. I picked up two guys. I don't want to be racist. I picked up two black guys, whatever. I took them to the side of the apartment complex where they wanted to go. And the next second, I knew I had a gun pointed to the back of my head. This was in January 2011. I don't remember the exact day, but how do I remember the month and year? I just do. January 2011. I think it was the first few days of January. Brand new in 2011. I was 27 years old. I thought I was going to fucking die. These stupid Nimrods this is how fucking stupid they are. They got me of $100 cash in my pocket. They ran so fast outside the cab car, they dropped $60 in cash in the floorboard of the back seat. That's how fast they ran. Basically, they robbed me at gunpoint for $40 fucking dollars. $40 fucking dollars is all they got. The gunman was never caught. His accessory was caught. I went to court in August 2011. I went to court. I mean, I did go. I think it was like a couple of weeks after the robbery. I went to court in Maricopa County for a preliminary hearing. They caught the guy. It was a hearing, and then he got an attorney. He pleaded guilty, and I went to court for the sentencing, and I found out that this armed robber, I found out that his mom and dad died when he was a teenager. He grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. This was the accessory. The armed robber himself, the guy that had the gun, was never caught. And his mom and dad died when he was like 12 years old. So he had a big brother in Phoenix taking care of him. His big brother, after the sentencing, outside the courtroom, his big brother gave me a hug and says, "Hey, I'm sorry for what my little brother did. I'm sorry." He apologized to me. He's like, "My family's not like this. We're not like this. My family's not like this." And I told him, "Hey, when he gets out, you keep, I told his big brother, hey, when he gets out, he got 3 years in prison. And I told his big brother, hey, when he gets out, you be there for him. Okay, he needs somebody that, because his mom and dad died when he was 12 years old in Cincinnati. So I'm not sure what happened there, but I told his big brother to his face, hey, when he gets out, you be there for him, because he needs that, that big brother, to do the right thing." So that's basically what happened with me. In my case of having, gun violence, had a gun put to my head. So, and let me just tell you, for anybody to tell me, well, you don't know what it's like and blah, 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 blah. I do know what it's like. I know what it's like to kiss death, okay? Because I've been there. And those seconds count more than ever. After that incident in January 2011 is when I bought my first gun. Because the Phoenix cop, the detective, he told me one thing that I'll never forget. And he asked me, well, why don't you carry a gun? And he asked me, are you a convicted felon? I'm like, no. I got a misdemeanor from '07, something stupid, nonviolent. But the cop asked me, are you a convicted felon? I'm like, no. He's like, well, why don't you own a gun? I was like, well, first off, it's against my cab company's policy. And second off, I'm just not really fond of guns, da-da-da. And the detective told me, his exact words were, fuck that, it's your life. Seconds count. And I sat on that. For some time, and I thought about it. And I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? That cop was right. That Phoenix PD detective was right. And I went out and I bought my first gun, a .38 revolver. And since then, the rest is history. I'm big on self-defense. I'm big on, gun ownership. Okay, you have a God-given right. I don't care what your government tells you. Don't let any government official out there, or don't let anybody out there, a government official, senator, Democrat, a Republican, state rep, congressman, president, whatever. Don't let any government official tell you that you cannot have the right, that you don't have the right to defend yourself with a gun, or defend yourself, period. Because you do. Okay? And these laws, these bills that the Michigan Senate is trying to propose are nothing but infringe on gun owners, infringe on our right to self-defense. It is infringing on our right to self-defense. Safe storage laws, we gotta store the gun safely in our house. It's our private property. Why do you give a fuck how we store our guns in our house? Okay? Oh, because there's idiots out there that don't lock up their guns and their kid ends up getting it and they end up shooting a sibling. That's true. And those people should not have guns if you cannot be responsible enough. What you should do is teach your kid responsible about a gun in the house. Okay? It's called being a responsible gun owner. That's what it's called. It's called responsibility. Okay? Something that people lack nowadays. So that might be the reason for the safe storage law. Then the universal background checks. I support background checks. Universal it's complicated. It can't be enforced. There's no possible way to enforce it. It just can't be enforced. And then the stupid red flag laws. The thought police. We're thought police now. Well, I think that person has got this on his mind based on what he posted on social media. Red flag laws are a violation of the First Amendment, a violation of the Second Amendment, a violation of the Fourth Amendment, due process. Take the guns, go to court later. That's something that Donald Trump supported. And that's why I don't support Donald Trump. Because he supports red flag laws. And Donald Trump did bring gun control to all you maggots out there. Okay? Donald Trump supported this shit. What did Donald Trump say at the Parkland? Take the guns now. I like that. That came out of Donald Trump's mouth. Okay? Let's get that straight. So, that's what's being proposed in Michigan right now. Sorry to make this video so long. Had to get it off my chest. My heart and thoughts and prayers go to Michigan State University. I don't care if you like my thoughts and prayers or not. I am a Christian. I am going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for the 5 students recovering in the hospital. I pray for a speedy recovery. Okay? And that is the Christian thing to do. By saying you're against thoughts and prayers, you're basically saying you're against God. Okay? And the ones that are coming out saying fuck your thoughts and prayers, you're just basically saying you're an atheist. Okay? So I send my condolences, thoughts and prayers and thoughts over to Michigan State University. I pray for the 5 students in the hospital still recovering. I pray for a speedy recovery for these students. And I pray that these stupid politicians get their shit together. And I pray that people wake up, abolish the government, and form communities of their own away from the government to protect themselves, because the government has failed for the last few decades. The government officials do not care about you. If they did, they would have the security system, which I explained, in play after Sandy Hook, every public schooling, every public college. But they don't, because the Republicans and Democrats like bickering with each other. That's what they like to do. So fuck the Republicans and fuck the Democrats. They're both guilty in this game. That's the way it is. Politicians don't give a shit about your kids. Okay? They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. Don't let a murderous dictator in Michigan, who killed senior citizens, who supports killing babies, tell you that they care about your children's life at school. They don't. Don't let an attorney general who supports pedophiles in public schools to tell you that they care about your kids in school, because she does not. And the same thing goes with Jocelyn Benson. The 3 witches do not care about your kids in schools. And the same thing goes with Elisa Slotkin. She does not care. Okay? They care about going into office, getting this, not caring what happens, and getting out and getting their pension. For life. For serving whatever years in Congress, governor, whatever. They care about this. That's why I'm not a member of the NRA. I dropped them in 2018. You know why? Because the NRA does this. That's all they care about. You know what happened? I asked the NRA, what are you doing for my gun rights? The lady called me on the phone and says, hey, would you like to rejoin us? And I had my first question, what are you doing for my gun rights? This is the answer I got. I watched Wayne LaPierre talk about safety, gun safety. This is what I heard out of Wayne LaPierre's mouth. I watched Gretchen Whitmer talk about the MSU shooting and what needs to be done. This is what I heard out of her mouth. Okay? Enough of that. All right? That's all I got to say about that.